Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are back in our Jewish Ethiopian game in where we control the whole kingdom of Abyssinia as a ruler who follows a organized Jewish faith. If you want to see how we survived this incredibly hard start, you can go ahead and watch this video on screen right now, where we started as a tiny county with a hostile ruler and were able to take over the whole kingdom of Abyssinia and actually increase the size to be quite substantial. However, we are back in this game today because if we look at the decisions that we have, there is a decision to restore Israel, and to do this we need to be a Jewish ruler first of all, so we can convert Jerusalem, but then we also need to control the 3 duchies that make up the Kingdom of Israel. So as for the decision itself, it's pretty easy. Once we control all the land, we have a decent amount of prestige and piety, and we convert Jerusalem to be part of the same organized Jewish faith that we are right now. We will have the option to restore Israel, and that is what we will be trying to do today. So where we left things off last time, you can see we have the Kingdom of Abyssinia, and we have an army of about 9,000 men, which is pretty good, and we're making a decent amount of gold, and we're pretty famous, and our current ruler is 44. She may love to blow off some steam by smoking every now and again, but I don't have any problem with that.
Smoke weed every day.
Without further ado, I think we're gonna get started here. One thing that we will definitely need to do is get a lot more manpower, because you can see right away we could declare a holy war for the Kingdom of Jerusalem right now, as long as we get a little bit more piety. But the problem is that the ruler of the Abbasid Empire is actually pretty strong. He has 10,000 men on his own, plus around 5,000 from his allies here. So what we're gonna have to do is build up our military, maybe take over the rest of these smaller regions to our south, so we will be able to take down the Abbasid Empire, at least in Jerusalem. So I was in the scholarship focus, and I just picked up Learn on the Job, because this is actually a really good perk that gives you 20% of your counselor's skill points added to your character. Since all of our guys are around 20 in their skill level, we are going to be getting +4 in all of our stats here, which is actually quite good. And you can see all our stats are 15 and above, other than intrigue, which, as you guys probably know, is my least favorite skill to invest into. But it's still good, don't get me wrong, it can be very useful. It just does not fit the way that I like to play the game personally. And now that we have picked this up, I'm actually going to switch over to authority focus, because I have realized that our control is actually kind of low in some of these counties around here, and I'm not a huge fan of low control because it affects your gold, it affects how many units you can have and everything. So I want to get that up as quickly as possible. So I just was cleaning up some border gore over here, and I look up and I see that Egypt has been completely taken over by the Abbasid Empire.
Is that legal?
And that's not good for me, because now it says they actually have 11,000 troops. So they're going up with their troop number pretty quickly, while we are also going up, but not quite as fast. So the only thing that we have going for ourselves is that it looks like the emperor of the Abbasid Empire is pretty old, so he should be dying soon, hopefully. And normally after a ruler of a big empire dies, especially when they have 13 kids, there's a lot of instability, and hopefully there'll be a lot of wars and their military strength will go down, and that might just give us an opportunity to go in there and get Jerusalem right away, which would be pretty sick. Okay, so just like I was talking about, the emperor of the Abbasid Empire has died and left his 34-year-old son in charge, and look how low his military is. He is actually only has 4,000 military and no alliances, right? Because he just became in charge, so he didn't have any time to set up any marriages or anything. He was able to keep the whole thing together, but I feel like that's definitely not gonna last. So this would actually be a very good time to get the Kingdom of Jerusalem. And it is a holy war, so it says other Ashari Muslims can join in, but we'll see if they do. I kind of feel like they won't, and we have such a overwhelming majority of troops than him. I feel like this could actually be our opportunity here to go in there and just take all the land for ourselves. So let's go and see if we can get this done. It costs all of our piety, but it's a good use for it, I would say. Let's go get our own crusade going here for the Holy Land. Also, a cool little thing you can do is I actually just picked up the military engineer trait on my character through a random event. So I am going to go over to my army, which has all of my onagers, and I will put myself in charge. One, because I actually have good martial skill, but because of this military engineer commander trait, it will actually lower our siege phase time by 30%. So now if we watch the siege, these siege events are going to be happening 30% quicker every time, so we'll essentially just be able to take things super quickly. We are actually going to just go march our way right through Jerusalem, but we're going to take some land on our way so that we don't get the penalty. Like, let's say if I just wanted to walk my units all the way over to Jerusalem, you can see you get casualties if you step into any land that's not directly next to land that you own already. So it kind of helps just to take land kind of in these bunches like we are planning on doing here. And look at this, with all of our 60 siege weapons, we are actually getting progress of 2.4 per day, which is huge. And because these lands are actually pretty developed, you can see the supply limit of some of these counties here is 6,000, so it should be enough to support my armies here. Okay, so here we go, moving into Jerusalem. We'll have to see what happens if he comes to attack our units somewhere. And it doesn't look like he is, but what he is doing is retaking some of his land, so we're going to definitely have to stop that from happening. And if we can catch him here, it'll help with the war score a lot. So we caught a small one of his tiny armies, but let's see if we can catch this big one. So we caught his big army here in the land of Jerusalem, which we just captured. So we're actually probably going to get a defensive bonus. We're going to get a defensive bonus from that battle, which leads to a big win, which is very nice. We actually lost a lot of units because you can see our armies are low on supplies. So I think what I will do here is just sit on these territories we just took so I can kind of like replenish my armies. As you can see, this number is going to go up the longer we sit in here. But I'd have to say this war is actually going very well. So we caught him again here. And another big win here. Up to 95. So now if I just take this one piece of land here, it should be enough to put this to 100. And we will have successfully taken the Holy Land. There you go. With only taking this amount of land and a couple battle wins, we have reached 100% war score. So we just have to go enforce our demands, and look at this. We now have the Abyssinian kingdom now has control over the kingdom of Jerusalem. I'm surprised we actually did that so early. I thought it was going to take a lot longer, but you know, the opportunity came when the Abbasid Empire was super weak. So now that we have control of Jerusalem, we actually have control of 3 different Jewish holy sites. And you can see that gives us this decision to restore the high priesthood for our religion, because we need to hold 3 holy sites and at least be a devoted servant. So we can do that now. We now have a high priest, which is pretty cool. And honestly, it kind of looks like he has a Darth Vader control set on his chest there, which I like a lot.
Yes, master.
But in terms of gameplay, we get some prestige and some piety from it. And it's so funny because it describes him as a godless villain, just because he is a cynical, wrathful, and sadistic man. You know, the perfect guy you would want to be your the priest for your country, I would say. I'll have to do something with the land I control, because currently I have these 2 duchies under my control and all the counties in them. But I think it would be pretty cool to hold some of this land in Jerusalem personally, because it does have some cool wonders like the Dome of the Rock. I really do want to hold at least this duchy here. So what I think I'm going to do is probably move my capital up to Jerusalem, and then I'll hold the Duchy of Gondar. Because it already has a land with a holy site, which is making me a ton of money, while the Axum Duchy only has 3 castles, which, although I did spend some time investing buildings into them, they're not providing me with that much. So I think I would be better off holding this over here. I can also construct a new castle here too to add a second holding to this county, which I'll probably do after, because that seems like a cool idea. And because I will need to get my holdings up once I grant away some of these other places like this here. And again, since we do want to reform Israel, the only thing we have left now is to convert Jerusalem to our religion. So I will right away go ahead and get this guy onto converting. Since we now have the head of faith, kind of like a pope, we can ask them for gold while they have a good opinion of us and while we have enough piety. So that's going to be a really good use for our piety for the rest of the game. We can just convert it right into gold. The last thing I want to do here is start increasing the control in Jerusalem, because you can see it is super low. But it is a good thing we went down the authority focus and picked up the serve the crown perk to add a little bit more control growth to all of the regions in which we hold personally. I was having another look at the Dome of the Rock wonder here, which is a holy site wonder, and it actually will not work for me because it was built for Muslim rulers. But what I can do is upgrade it, which costs 1,000 gold and 1,000 piety and takes 6 years to do so. But that will convert it into a Jewish special building and I will get all the benefits from it. So I am going to be saving my money so I can get that done as soon as possible. So I thought it was time for an update, you guys. I actually switched to theology focus in the learning tree to get me a little bit more piety per month. You can see it's netting me 1 piety per month. So I'm all the way up to 5.1 per month. So it shouldn't take too long till I'm up to 1,000 now. That's really all I'm waiting for, so I can upgrade my Dome of the Rock temple. As for everything else, our gold is up to 28 per month, which is massive, and our troops are now almost at 13,000. So even if the Abbasid Empire was not in a huge, who even knows what this is, a tyranny war here with like what looks like all of his vassals. So even if he wasn't fighting with himself, he still wouldn't be able to surmount a insurrection to get me out of Jerusalem. Okay, so we finally hit 1,000 piety, which means we can go over here into Jerusalem and upgrade our Dome of the Rock building. It's gonna take 6 years to do, which is quite a long time, but when that is done, we should be making so much money from this one county of Jerusalem. If we look at the Dome of the Rock, you can see it's gonna give us 3 gold per month plus 30% taxes, which is the same as before. But what I didn't realize is we have another temple here. We have a grand temple right over here in the temple county, in the temple holding of this Jerusalem county, and this is actually giving the whole county another 20% tax bonus. So we are actually going to be getting a plus 50% tax bonus in this one county. So I will have to just go in here and make every single money making building we can, and luckily for me it's actually a 4 slot county, which means there is 1 extra slot above the city and temple that are already there, meaning I am constructing a castle here currently, and in this castle I can again construct everything that gives me gold, which will just further stack with all the bonuses in this one county, and we should be making heaps of money from the Jerusalem county. And I'm gonna have to really think about getting rid of these 3 lands here, but I think what I will do is wait until this is finished before I do that. So not a good sign, we just got the infirm trait, which is gonna have quite a negative effect on our health, but hopefully we can stay alive a little bit longer, because our son, who we are going to be playing as, is only 18. This is definitely not good. But if we look over here, we just had a crusade declared on us by the Pope. So we'll see how many people they'll send to this crusade, but if it is the entire force of the Catholic rulers in the game, I am not overly confident that we'll be able to win. But we actually just converted Jerusalem, so what we can do is actually do this decision to restore Israel.
Boom, bam, bop.
And look at that, we now have the Kingdom of Israel, which I have to say is pretty cool. Even though it might come crashing down in 11 months, I'm still pretty happy we were able to do this. I think I'm also going to go ahead and move my capital over to Jerusalem, just because that seems very fitting for our Kingdom of Israel to be run out of Jerusalem. And it'll also actually modify our gold income for when for when our Dome of the Rock is upgraded, and it'll just stack very nicely with those bonuses. Although I'm not sure we'll be able to see those bonuses because we might get absolutely destroyed in this crusade, but we'll have to see what happens. Okay, so here we go. The crusade is starting. Lord protect us. It says 5,000 men, but for some reason I feel like that is not true. Liar! I was actually able to go around and convert some of these Ashari Muslim county holders in my north, so that's pretty cool. I think if I convert, the more people I convert into my Jewish faith, the more people will actually be able to help me defend this crusade. Let's take a look at the numbers here, and it looks like it says they have 30,000 men and we have only 15,000 men. I mean, like, I'm just not going to give up. That's all I have to say. I am not going down without a fight, and if the Pope really wants Jerusalem, he wants to steal Jerusalem from the Jews, then I'm going to put up a fight for it. You'll be damn sure about that. In all honesty, I think if we have our armies raised and like ready for right when their armies drop, like when they land, they'll have this negative bonus, which you can actually see here, and it's recently disembarked. It's pretty bad. I think it gives you a -30 on your damage that you can do in battle. So if we catch them coming off the shores, like, we might be able to defend, but it's going to definitely be a big ask. Okay, actually, so we just finished moats, which is something I wanted because I wanted to construct some more castle holdings in this county down here, just so I can get my holdings up for when I get rid of these two holdings from the Axum Duchy, which I do plan on getting rid of. And look at this, we actually have some men coming in to help us in this crusade, which, you know, you might only have 700 men, but I appreciate every little bit of help we get here.
Will defend to the death their native soil. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
Okay, so we have a stack moving in here, and I'm going to see if I can catch anybody. You can see they all have the recently disembarked message here. And we have some people invading, so they're not actually too strong, so we should be able to kill them. What I'm worried about is this 12 stack running around. Okay, so we're going to actually catch a 7k stack of the Pope's units over here, which is actually big. Okay, this is actually huge. Look at this. Oh my goodness, we killed 4,000 men. That is huge. And we only lost 800. This crusade might be turning in our favor. Unfortunately, there's no white peace option for crusades. I actually didn't know that. Okay, so let's look at this. Another huge win. And we caught another big stack. And they're running in all one at a time, which is my favorite. Which is the favorite thing that the Pope always does, because they end up just losing the battle no matter what they do. Okay, I'm going to split my armies up so they can regenerate, get their supplies back up, and kind of replenish their forces. Oh, and actually another thing that's going to be important, I'm going to switch my husband back onto chivalry focus, because that's going to get my units up a good amount and help with reinforcements and everything. Okay, so we have a couple stacks down here. We should be able to kill them pretty easily. Yes, look at this, and this guy's gonna run in and die again. Oh my god. I cannot believe this, but this crusade is actually going so well right now. And I should be able to catch them. Amazing. Oh my god, no way. Okay, so we actually just defended a crusade against the Pope and all of the Catholic rulers in the game as Israel, with literally only my one nation. Like, I don't think this is actually crazy. We only had about 12,000 men against 30,000, and we successfully defended the promised land. This is amazing. Get out of here, Pope, you old bastard.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I am actually ecstatic about that. I was so pissed because we had done all this work to upgrade our wonder here, the Dome of the Rock, and we're building all these things. Like, we were set up to go super far in this game, and I was pissed that we were all gonna lose it just after one crusade. And I think we are set up to continue doing well in the future, especially with these castles being made and our wonders being constructed right now. We are looking very good. I'm still blown away that we were able to win that crusade. Our character is still infirm, unfortunately, and her health is poor, but I would love for her to be able to see the building of the third temple, which is what the Dome of the Rock upgrades into. You can see our character here. She has the Shepherd, which is what we got for reforming Israel, as her like nickname, which is super cool. This character, actually continuing off of what we did last game with her into what we did this game, has been amazing. So I want to get these war camels because I just think it would be super cool to be running around this area with a bunch of light infantry war camels, and they're actually pretty strong too. I just have to be careful to keep them away from hills and mountains where they don't really do well. So we also just got enough money to found our own empire here, which is going to be cool because I think it should be the Empire of Israel now, which is awesome. Wow, I love the blue too. It's just such a cool cool look. I guess there's not really many other places that have it, but man, does this look cool. A sick sigil here for the Empire of Israel. And the land here is super fun. Like, we have a ton of cool wonders. Like, there's Petra over here, which is a wonder that's part of the city, so you don't really get to own it yourself because you can't play as a mayor. But it's cool to like have it, like have these little, all these wonders around the area. It just makes the land look a little bit cooler. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to put this on screen, but look at the gold. So we finished the third temple, the upgrade of the Dome Rock, and our gold jumped to 10 gold that we're making from this one holding. And if we take a look at the taxes, we're making a whopping 63% just from the buildings and the development level of this title, of this holding. Plus, may I add, another 34 for our player's stewardship, and we are on taxes, so we're getting another 11% from that. This is an absolute insane amount of gold. Like, we just went from 35 gold to 46 from that one wonder being created. So I'm actually going to keep these two counties for now, just because we have such a high domain limit, and it does add to a little bit of negative opinion from the person who holds the duchy, but since it's my son, I don't really care. And what this will allow me to do is to create the Duchy of Palestine and hold that for myself, which is going to be pretty good. And it will let me also build a duchy building here. And I think what I'm going to go for actually is probably either the royal reserves for the 0.8 tax or the tax office for the extra 10% holding tax on this holding. But to be able to build those, I would need the manorialism tech, which I don't have now, and it'll probably be a little bit until I get it anyway. Okay, so our character finally died, and she actually died of old age, which is fitting because she had an amazing life as her, and I just have to give her props. We accomplished so much as her. I hope her son is going to be up to the task, because his stats aren't amazing, that's for sure, but his wife, who is betrothed to him, has the intelligence trait, so hopefully we can start spreading that down our family lines. And I think what I'll have to do is actually go down stewardship for now, just because I do want to be able to hold a little bit more holdings. I think I actually will get rid of these two counties now, because they are putting me over my limit here. And so if I grant them away, we'll be perfectly at 8 of 8. And I obviously do plan on increasing the amount of domains we can have. But for now, we also have these extra castle holdings that we made in some of these counties. Should help keep us afloat as we upgrade them. So this is kind of annoying, but my guy is was turned into a fornicator because he has a relationship with this lady over here who's his lover. I probably should have checked that right when I became this guy, but like, it would be nice if there was a notification or something to at least let you know. So I guess it's not that big a deal because we are the emperor of Israel, so like nobody's gonna be able to imprison us. Okay, so we just unlocked war camels, and I have a slot available to put them in right now, so I can just go ahead and create them. The good thing about the camel riders is they're actually pretty cheap. You can see it only costs 85. It only costed 85 to upgrade them, which is not bad at all. I think I'm also going to go ahead and max out my pikemen and these bowmen here. I might get rid of these bowmen later down the line and replace them with something else, but I'm not quite sure what just yet. We are making just absolute heaps of gold right now. So much gold, I'm just, anytime one of my counties has a building that's done being built, I'll just go in and upgrade it. That's just how much gold we have. We can pretty much upgrade all our buildings at all times. Like you can see here, our goal is to constantly be constructing in each one of these holdings here. I was actually just able to revoke this title right here, which is another county in the Duchy of Palestine, which I own. So it should be able to let me just get a few, like one more holding under my belt, which is nice. He had such a high opinion of me that he just accepted right away, didn't cause a war or anything, which I enjoy a lot. I'm going to construct a trade port in there because that's going to help get the development up in this lovely area. So as you can see, I've been taking a little bit more land down south. I'm not completely finished yet, but I think this is a good place to stop the video. You can see we are doing extremely well in terms of all our yields. We almost have 14,000 troops. I was kind of waiting for this empire over here to start collapsing, the former Abbasid Empire, but they're not really doing that. They actually have about 14,000 men with some alliances, so I was not able to connect my Israels, but maybe if you guys want to keep watching this game, let me know, and that's something I could do in the future. But already I think it was an incredibly successful game. We were able to create the Empire of Israel, reform Israel itself, and defend against a crusade from the Pope. If you enjoyed this video, think about subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.